Welcome you all again in my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss some question answer from the chapter friction. In my YouTube video you will get the lecture from the friction chapter, and after that today now we are discussing some important questions. So let's start our topic. So from the chapter friction, the first question will come like, what is friction? Is it contact? Yeah. Friction is a type of force, and we say this is contact force, because when two surfaces come in contact with each other, then only we get the friction. Otherwise, without contact, friction is not possible. Fine. Next question is that, what are the types of friction and explain. So what are the types? We know total 3 types of frictions are there: static, sliding, rolling. Static friction means when two objects or two substances will be with contact with each other, but they are not moving at all. In that case, the friction experienced by two objects that are to be called static friction. Next, sliding. Sliding means something will be slided up, right? So when two surfaces will be in contact with each other and one object slides over the other, that time the friction which comes into play, that is to be called sliding friction. Any object, suppose you have taken one ball, you are sliding it on a surface, so the friction that will be experienced by the ball, that is to be called sliding friction. Next is that rolling friction. Rolling friction means, so from the word we have the idea, when one object rolls over the other, that time the friction will be produced and called rolling friction. Fine. So now if I say arrange them in descending order or compare them, compare the types of the friction: static, sliding and rolling. How can we compare it? Now you can say ki ma'am, static friction is the highest. The value of static friction always, this is the maximum. So static friction, then greater than sliding friction, then greater than rolling friction. This is the arrangement of 3 types of friction. Acha. Now next question, how can we walk so much easily on the ground? It is a very common question ki we can walk on the floor easily, smoothly. How? Due to the friction. Why? Because there is a friction that acts between the surfaces. Suppose you are walking on the ground by wearing your shoes. So we know that the sole of the shoes are having grooves. So the grooves create friction, more and more friction with the surface where you are walking. So due to the friction, you can grip the field or ground easily and smoothly we walk. Fine. Next question is that important advantages of friction. Acha. Advantages, any 2 or 3 or 4, any important advantages you can take. Like the first one is, just now we have discussed, we walk on the ground smoothly or easily just because of the friction. Next, we can write on the paper smoothly because there is a friction between the nib of the pen and the paper. Okay. Next, you can say like we can easily move up through the stairs because with the sole of our shoes and the stairs there is a friction, and due to the friction we cannot slip out and easily we can move through the stairs. So which thing is coming here? Again the same thing, that is friction. Friction is happening with the stairs and with our grooves of the shoes, and we are moving up and down easily. Next we can say like the kabaddi players, before playing they rub their hand with the dry soil. Why? So that they can grip another player easily. They can grip them easily, right? So this is also one advantage of friction. So without friction we cannot walk, we cannot move, we cannot hold anything, even we cannot write anything. So these all are the advantages. Fine. So from here another question may come, how can we increase the friction? Now we can increase the friction by using the roughness of the surface. Means if we make more rough the surface, so definitely we get more friction from there. So roughness or smoothness of the surface, it is a factor, very important factor by which we can determine the friction. Ki friction will be less or friction will be more. So if I make the surface more and more rough, so I can get more friction. After that we can make our soles of the shoes with more and more grooves, then also the friction will be more. Fine. Acha. Next I can say like if the object will be heavier, so heavier object will create more friction. Fine. Acha. Now surface area. If the surface area will be higher or more, so in that case definitely the contact force, that is friction, the friction will be higher. So we can increase the surface area. Definitely it should be rough. The rough surface area I can make more. So in that case friction will be also more. So this is how we can increase the friction. Now opposite. How can we reduce the friction? If you use the ball bearing in the machines, so it will reduce the friction. If you use the lubricating oil, it will reduce the friction. If you make the surface smoother, it will reduce the friction. So this is how we can reduce it. Next question is that what are the direction of friction? So what should be the direction? Now direction of friction will be just opposite to the direction of the body. That means suppose one body is moving to left to right position. This is how. Then from which direction the force of friction will come? From right to left. So direction of the force of friction will be just opposite direction of the movement of the body. If the body comes from left to right, so force of friction will come from right to left. Okay? Acha. Next is that very important question. Can we remove the friction completely from any object? No. The answer is no. Because friction is the molecular property of any substance. So we cannot make zero friction. It is not possible. This is molecular property. Next, fluid friction. Because we have discussed a lot of things from solid friction. Now fluid means gas and liquid both are considered as fluid. So what is the fluid friction? So when any object will pass through the fluid, that time the force of friction experienced by the object is to be called fluid friction. Suppose one aeroplane is moving. So from where to where it is going? Now from one place to another place, the aeroplane is moving through the gas. It is moving through our atmosphere. Am I right? So here the fluid means the gas. So during the movement, the aeroplane is feeling the force of friction due to the molecules of the gases. Now it is the fluid friction. Fine. Next question is very important. Tell the name of the factors on which the fluid frictions depend. So you can say the first factor is that when the object is moving through the fluid, so that time viscosity of the medium. So either the medium is liquid or gas, that doesn't matter, you have to check the viscosity. If the viscosity is higher, so definitely friction also will be higher. Next is that body or size of the object. If the size of the object is bigger, so it will face more friction. Okay. Now if I think about the fish, those are having streamlined body. So the submarine or fishes, those are those who are taking the place in the water. So the water body animals or anything that we find inside the water, so how are their shape of their body? Now streamlined. So what is the benefit of streamlined body? Now they easily can reduce the friction due to water molecules and easily they can move forward. So if the body of object will be streamlined, in that case easily the object can pass out the friction and smoothly it can move forward. Okay. Acha. Next thing is that if the definitely the surface area will be higher, more surface area will give you the more friction. Otherwise you can say like if temperature will be higher, so which incident we can see? If the temperature will be higher, in that case definitely the molecules will start to move randomly, right? So in that case, due to their random motion, more friction will be created. So this is also a very important point. If you apply more and more heat on the same medium and the particles are moving randomly, so due to their random motion, one by one they will collide with each other, and due to their collision they will create more friction. Okay. Acha. Next important thing is that can we say कि friction is our foe? Give some reason. How many reason you can give? Like reason 1, कि it causes wear and tear of the object, so yeah, we can say this is our foe. Next is that it causes the damage of the machinery parts. Number 3, it does not allow the free movement of the object. So any object cannot move freely due to the presence of friction. So these all are the disadvantages. So due to getting of disadvantages, we say कि friction is our foe. But as well as we have discussed कि friction is our friend also. Fine. So from solid friction, the question answer we discussed. What is the fluid fraction that I say, as well as how to increase the fluid friction, that thing also I discussed. And one more thing is that if friction is the molecular property. This is very important thing कि a molecular property, as this is a molecular property, so we cannot eliminate it completely. So zero friction is not possible. So these all are the important question answer that may come in your exam. So very short and long answer you have to practice very well from your textbook. So at the first, read the whole portion from your textbook, then start your exercise and do the question answer properly. Okay, chalo, for today this is sufficient. Bye everyone.